MMORPGs are games that players can sink thousands of hours into, so understandably no one wants to play one of these games that are perceived to be dead, dying, or in a state
You're
of decline.
sick? I can stick
so in this
you with
video
a
I'm going to list the
thermometer.
most played MMORPGs
Sir?
going into 2025 that all have healthy populations
I'd rather have other things
and
stuck
shouldn't
into
die
me.
anytime soon. Unlike most people who make these kind of videos, I won't be
He
using
was hooked
data
on Lost
from
Ark at some point.
MMOpopulations.com, as this website is verifiably wrong about most games, as you can see with its data on Albion Online, claiming that this game has only 15k daily players, when the devs released data saying it was above the 300k range.
Jesus Christ, Albion Online has 358k daily players? What are we doing? Why does our game suck so much ass?
Only a few months ago. This list has a few new additions as well as some changes in the rankings
Yeah,
compared to
Albion
the last
Online.
time. Interestingly, there's a few MMOs on here that have actually been growing in player base for quite some time. But before we get into
Ain't always
it,
gonna
support
say
the content
MapleStory
by
has been
listening
growing
to
in
today's
player base.
sponsor. Go Muffin, a fun and relaxing mobile MMORPG taking the world
Dude,
by
I've been
storm.
seeing so many ads for
Go
this game.
Muffin's all about having fun without the grind. Level up effortlessly with idle gameplay, then jump into thrilling dungeons with your friends. Whether you prefer manual or auto battle, there's a playstyle for
It is
everyone.
mobile, but still.
Team up with 4 to 6 players to take on the mighty Dragon Bounty Dungeon, coordinate your attacks, maximize your DPS, and strategize to avoid
Ragnarok
devastating
Mobile?
explosions.
I have tried
Climb the
some of
leaderboards
those.
and
There's
prove
so
that
many
your team
versions
is
of
the
those.
best. Or gather your friends for the
Where's
challenging
my
Rifts
sponsor of
dungeon.
Go-Go
Master
Muffin?
your timing, unleash
Non-existent, 'cause I'm
powerful
not
skills,
cool enough.
and work together to defeat the boss and earn epic gear.
I'm not
With 9
cool
unique
enough.
skills to choose from and countless combinations, you can create the perfect build for your playstyle.
I would love
As you
to.
progress,
I would
evolve
love
your
to
class,
get
collect
sponsored by
adorable Melamons,
Go
and unlock
Muffin.
awesome mounts and
Ooh.
companions.
Look at all these
and don't
cute
forget
little
to
sprites.
summon. And
I
with
mean,
a
I'll
little
be
luck,
honest,
you might
right? This type of art style is like my preferred art style for MMOs. Like, if for MMOs, this was like the type of art style and game that I loved back in the day, and I've been hoping to see more of.
snag a legendary Melamon. Join a guild or create your own,
They're
chat
not
with
laws,
friends
they're
and
called
show off your
chibi
stylish
characters,
outfits.
sir.
Go Muffin has it all, so download
2024's
Go Muffin
Summoners
today
War?
for
Is that an
iOS and
MMO?
Android using the link
I know Summoners
below.
War is a mobile
Starting
game.
out with Foxhole. This is an MMO that many people overlook, but with thousands of players at war on a single server, Foxhole certainly qualifies for this list. In this game, players spawn in as nothing more than a
Interesting.
simple soldier, a small cog in the war machine, and everything relating to combat logistics, from bullets to weapons, vehicles and fuel, is all supplied by other real players. Foxhole fully released in September 2022 after multiple years in
I've
early
never
access,
heard of this game
and has
before. It looks
actually
pretty
been growing
interesting.
in player base ever since, whilst also sitting comfortably at very positive reviews on Steam.
Yo, this is gonna be beating Lost Ark soon.
Oh, and if you're looking at this game
Oh, you're
and wishing
calling
there was a
Coco Muffin
medieval
Summoner
version,
Wars.
then I have very good news for you. The developers of Foxhole are indeed making a medieval version called Anvil Empires, which you can already wishlist on Steam now. MapleStory is another surprise MMO on this list that in the past few years has seen a major resurgence in player numbers. Look at the player count on Steam charts, it's on a 4-year uptrend.
What the hell? Why is our game not like this? Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait, he's using a different site. He's using a different site, guys. He's using SteamDB. Let's go to SteamDB and see what's up. SteamDB. Okay.
And that's not even considering that most people play via the Nexon launcher, so actual player numbers are much higher. If you've never played before,
1.3 mil for
MapleStory is a
MMO is kind of
2D
beatable.
anime
Yeah,
side-scroller
but
MMO that has
also there
surprisingly
probably
fun
were a
combat,
lot of
boss
bots.
fights, a nostalgic art
I'm
style,
not gonna say
and
it didn't
tons
have
of
at least like
classes,
500k
as
though.
well as a
500
highly
to
active
700K.
content creation community on YouTube.
Dude, they have an entire convention And it's not even, and it's a KR game. Also, this guy looks real happy to be here. He's next to the two directors or whatever they're called. It's over. You're making guides on a dead game. That's why I'm saying Miso's talent is wasted on this game. I appreciate it.
YouTube, Twitch, and Reddit. Whilst researching this video, I was really surprised to see MapleStory doing so well, so perhaps it's time for another revisit soon. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Despite being 13 years old at this point, Star Wars: The Old Republic still has a reasonably sized player base, and is still receiving updates, although much less frequent than it used to. If you've never played it before, SWTOR is a traditional.
I remember listening to like podcasts about this game back in the day. People love this shit.
The game also has a nice player housing system and a decent mix of PvP.
But I think the publishers kind of fucked the game over, if I remember correctly.
Despite having a player base, SWTOR might only have one more expansion left in it before going full maintenance mode. Luckily, thanks to the story, this is a game that's still possible to enjoy solo. Since my last video, Lost Ark has had quite the fall from grace, going from one of the most—
Oh no! Don't do this, man! Don't do this! Don't do this to us! Why? No, not like this. We just looked at it ourselves. You didn't have to pull it up on the stream. You didn't have to pull it up on the YouTube video.
Played MMOs shortly after its global release, to barely making this list. Despite its drop over time, the game does still have a player base, and I still think Lost Ark has the best combat out of any top-down MMORPG. It's definitely worth trying out if you've never played it before. Big titty anime characters, flashy combat, epic PvE boss fights both solo and group, with some PvP available if you fancy it. Hopefully—
yeah, that's not really— there's no PvP, guys. There's actually no PvP.
The devs step in with a drastic update sometime soon to bring people back to the game, because at its core, the gameplay is very good. The endgame loop, however, not so much. Modern RuneScape, aka RuneScape 3.
Dude, we're getting beat out by RuneScape 3. This game sucks. People hate this game. And somehow we're getting beat by this game. Also, ruined the comment all other MMOs? Yeah, it really has.
This is the least popular, most heavily monetized version of RuneScape. We do have accurate data for this game, and as you can see from the chart, the player count has mostly flatlined over the past 10 years, ranging from 25k to 35k.
That's still more than us.
Players. In my opinion, RuneScape 3 is worth playing, only if you play Iron Man mode, which prevents the pay-to-win cash shop completely ruining your sense of accomplishment. This point-and-click sandbox MMORPG has a ton of content, and I actually plan on revisiting it myself with a fresh Iron Man character soon. EVE Online, another 20-year-old MMORPG that still has an active player base.
How is a 20-year-old MMORPG doing better than Lost Ark?
That we can also see accurate player data for over at eveoffline.net. This is a free-to-play sci-fi.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things about this game.
For its massive galactic-scale battles.
It's just so complicated. I feel like I could never get into it.
With your spaceship and work with others to control sectors of space.
Lost Ark in 2040, yeah, if it's still around.
35k peak concurrent players every day, and given that there's no other similar MMOs, it probably isn't going away anytime soon. New World has recently had a console cross-platform release, so the Steam chart numbers no longer accurately reflect the entire player base, but in total,
that's looking pretty Lost Ark-like.
The game to have daily peak concurrent player numbers in the 30 to 40k range. If you've never played it before, New World is quite a unique MMO in that it has a Souls-like feeling combat system and blends aspects of survival with theme park MMO.
Yo, Rackadeor, thanks for the follow, appreciate it.
Open world, as well as PvP battlegrounds and territory wars. Sentiment from the PC player base towards New World was quite negative in 2024 due to a lack of meaningful updates, with the focus clearly being on the cross-platform release and rebrand. I suspect the game will see player numbers rise again with the next major expansion. Guild Wars 2 has recently turned—
How is Guild Wars 2 doing better than Lost Ark? I thought this game died, honestly. I know it's a good game, but I thought it died. Adventure Islands don't even make on the weekends sometimes. I think a lot of people just don't do them. I think that's the main issue. It's like Adventure Islands are just like, they don't give enough gold for people to like make it worth it their time. At least that's for me.
turned 12 years old, and due to it being the king of horizontal progression in the MMO genre,
Ooh,
as well as it being a
horizontal.
buy-to-play, no sub-fee title, this game has easily maintained a consistent player base.
Dude, the crazy thing is, I think Guild Wars 2 is not free. I think people have to pay for it. The fact that we're getting beat out by a paid game is crazy. Oh, definitely. Ignite was amazing.
Whilst we don't have exact player data numbers for Guild Wars 2, with most people using the official launcher over Steam, I'd expect it to have somewhere in the range of 40 to 60k daily peak concurrent.
Jeez.
It was announced earlier in 2024 that Guild Wars 3
Guild Wars 3.
And Guild
Yo, I'm
Wars
there.
2 is still
I'm there,
earning
boys.
decent money for NC Soft with regular updates, so I'd expect this game to remain popular and stick around for a fair few years to come. Once Human is a new free-to-play open-world post-apocalyptic survival MMO and has taken a rather interesting seasonal approach to its design. Every few
Once
weeks
Human was
there's a new
fun.
season
I like this
where
game.
everything resets,
This was a lot of fun
and
when
the
I was
world
playing
is
it.
different each time. This causes big
But the problem is, like,
fluctuations in the play.
the seasons for Once Human was way too short. It was like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. It was really short. Best game ever. That's high praise. Raid difficulty affects population. I think that it does, but I think that, like, it's interesting because, like, it does affect the population, but at the same time, it is a niche, right? And I think, like, a niche isn't a bad thing. Like, not every game has to be piss poor easy to get, like, people to play it.
Player numbers, as it's obviously pointless to start playing the game at 1 to 2
Like,
weeks
clearly with,
before
like,
a
Elden Ring
reset.
and, like, Dark Souls.
Regardless,
and
the
those types
game's
of games,
maintained
right?
a large player base since launch, and with both mobile and console releases on the horizon, I'd expect player count to increase quite a bit for this game.
Oh yeah,
in
it just came out on mobile, I
2025.
think.
Elder Scrolls Online, another hard MMO to estimate player count, as most people play via the official launcher rather than Steam, and it's also really popular cross-platform on console. For this one, I'd estimate around 60 to 80k daily peak players,
Christ.
maybe more.
ESO still that popular? That's insane. I feel like I barely ever hear about it. I mean, granted, I'm sure if I wasn't in the Lost Ark community, I'd probably hear about Lost Ark even less. But ESO, I feel like I just don't hear about this game ever. WoW difficulty a perfect spot. I think normal mode should be like heroics in WoW, in my opinion. Just matchmaking that shit, you know? They really need to add a raid finder type difficulty, much easier, much challenging. Exactly. People want their Elder Scrolls fix. Yeah, I mean, I do wish that there actually was like a Skyrim MMO, which ESO Online just, it kind of scratches the itch, but it doesn't really exactly. Yes, the only MMOs that we ever hear about are Final Fantasy, WoW, and RuneScape. That is true.
ESO has just turned 10 years old and it's still getting yearly expansions. The game's got content for everyone, fans of PvP, PvE, player housing, and story enjoyers.
MapleStory one's
and
very
it's a
much an
buy-to-play
MMO, yeah.
MMO, although to avoid
I'd say it's more
spending
MMO-like than
hundreds
Lost
on
Ark,
DLC,
to be honest.
You're probably going to want to subscribe. Black Desert Online released globally over 8 years ago at this point, and it's still one of the most popular MMOs, especially in Asia. The Steam data for this game really isn't accurate, as most people play off Steam, with there being different launches for the game depending on your region. BDO is a sandbox MMO.
Damn, guys, should we just become a BDO streamer? Just move on to better games like BDO. It's a higher it's rated higher than Lost Ark. No. Heavy opposition. People don't like BDO. You hate the combat? Yeah, I could never get into Final Fantasy because of the combat too. I just never, like, even before Lost Ark. This was before Lost Ark, and I couldn't get into Final Fantasy combat. This was before getting spoiled. And most readers are unironically stream narcolepsy. And most, let's be face it, right? Streaming it, like, watching MMO streams is probably some of the most boring shit out there. Like, MMO streams are basically just glorified just chatting. And, like, you can't even just chatting very well in Lost Ark either, because, like, you gotta focus on the fucking raid. So you're literally just watching some dude sweat it out on, like, you know, some raid that you've done 20,000 times already.
That to this day is widely considered to have the best action combat in the MMO genre. It's certainly more of a mob grind style MMO, although in recent years the devs have tried making more traditional PvE style content. Despite having a daily peak concurrent player base that I'd estimate to be likely close to 100k, many BDO players haven't been happy with the recent updates. Hopefully things improve in 2025. Albion Online has continued to rise in player numbers over the past couple years, not only due to its mobile release, but also releasing new servers. A few years back, this game only had NA servers, but now it's got servers for both Asia and Europe, so more people can enjoy the game without getting wrecked by bad ping. If you've never played before, Albion is a free-to-play sandbox MMO that's got a lot of interesting content for both PvP and PvE players. It's regularly updated, has a large content creator community, and recent data released by the devs shows the game reaching a milestone of 350k daily players.
I wish that was our graph, guys. I wish this was our chart. Why can't this be our chart? Albion, isn't that fun? I played it for a little bit, but I don't think I ever gave it like a full chance.
With 27k
there is
concurrent being
mobile
the Steam record. Given that most people play off Steam via the official client or on mobile, I'm estimating the game probably has a concurrent peak of around 100k. Throne and Liberty is a new addition to this list, releasing on Steam with an initial peak of 300k players, bleeding out to around 100k 2 months post-launch. If you account for the console player base on both PS5 and Xbox, as well as the separate Korean version of the game, then the player numbers are most likely much higher. Throne and Liberty is one of the few Korean MMOs to take a more Western approach to design, including traditional PvE content in the form of dungeons, raids, and solo bosses with interesting mechanics. This game has a rather clunky tab targeting combat system, a focus on guild vs guild territory wars at endgame, and unlike most Korean MMOs, a progression system that isn't an infinite RNG grind. Given that this is a game,
I do think that is pretty I think that it's pretty unfair for him to put Throne and Liberty here and Albion Online here and then Lost Ark down here, because like he puts Throne and Liberty up here above Albion Online because he's like, yeah, there's, you know, other servers like Korea and stuff that also has big player base, and you know, if we count that, we estimate it to be above Albion, which is what, 350 they said. But the thing is, we also have a Korean server. Lost Ark also has a Korean server and a Chinese server and a Taiwan server and a Russian server that are not on Steam. So, you know, maybe we're not that bad after all on this list. I think it has like 100k plus alone. Probably not daily concurrence. Maybe daily concurrence probably like 70, I don't know. But, you know, it's still, you know, not as bad as it looks. He didn't count them, no. RIP JP server. Yo, that's where my original character was on.
Game that's just recently launched, I would expect it to fall down quite a few spots on next year's list, unless the devs can release some updates to improve its fundamentally clunky gameplay.
Look at this shit, dude. This shit just looks like, what am I looking at here? I don't know. It's nothing against open world PvP, because I've played open world PvP games in the past and like large scale war content, and it looked nothing like this. Like, look at this shit. What's going on? What is going on here? I can't see shit. I see bars. Orange and green bars. That's all I see.
Final Fantasy XIV is a theme park MMO and the #1 competitor to World of Warcraft that's known for both its storytelling and epic endgame raiding. Like WoW, FF14 has a major expansion roughly every 2 years, and we don't really have any concrete data on actual player numbers other than Steam charts, which only show a fraction of the actual player base, given that most people don't play on Steam and the game's also available on console. Final Fantasy XIV is definitely in the top 3 MMOs in terms of popularity, however, based on a number of factors such as social media engagement, viewership and trends, I'd personally estimate it to be number 3. Old School RuneScape is truly an MMO that's not only stood the test of time, but has also gone from strength to strength, gaining players and relevance.
Dude, why can't they see us? This is literally like a 20-plus-year-old game, and it's still growing. Why can't Lost Ark be like that, man?
Since its release, OSRS is one of the few MMOs to
I don't think it's just nostalgia. If it's nostalgia, it wouldn't grow in players.
150k concurrent. As of releasing this video, it's probably much higher, with the temporary game mode Leagues 5 having just released. I'm probably playing it myself right now actually. If you've never played it before, the appeal of OSRS is that it's an MMO that will keep you addicted for thousands of hours due to the incremental upgrades and content being designed in a way that doesn't make previous content irrelevant. The game's highly customizable nowadays thanks to the rune.
Making previous content irrelevant? Yo, you know what, guys? I think that's it, guys. Let's never get rid of elixirs. Let's never get rid of transcendence. Games, we gotta follow the formula of a successful game like RuneScape. Don't get rid of previous content. Let's keep elixirs, keep transcendence into the game, never get rid of it. We gotta go through Thamine and we gotta go through Voldus on every single one of our characters. Go through T0, T1, no KT.
Like client, it's crossplay on mobile, the game's very frequently updated, and in 2025 it's likely there'll be an official HD mode released by Jagex, enticing more new players to the game.
Why didn't I see that?
In the past 5 months alone, I've put over 1,000 hours into OSRS on my new Iron Man character, and I genuinely believe that this MMO will still be here in another 10 years' time. World of Warcraft stopped publishing its subscriber numbers
WoW is at number one. What a surprise!
A bunch of data to make solid estimates. In 2024, Bellular Gaming made a full video estimating WoW to have roughly 7 million subscribers. Now obviously you've got multiple different versions of WoW. You've got Retail, Vanilla Classic, Classic Expansions, and Season of Discovery, but all of those are accessible with one subscription, and many WoW players will hop between the different versions of the game depending on what's hype at the time. On every metric, WoW still seems like it's the top dog in the MMORPG genre. From Twitch viewership, social media engagement, YouTube and Reddit,
you think his numbers are way off?
Numbers and doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. But that's it for this list. We've had quite a few new entries this year, as well as some older MMOs surprisingly climbing the rankings. The ones that surprised me the most personally were Foxhole, MapleStory, and old school RuneScape, as well as seeing how much Lost Ark has dropped down by. How much—
Bro! Don't say that, dude! Stop! It's already dead! The horse is dead! Stop doing this! Oh no! Oh, it's over.
How much do you think this list will change in 1 year's time? You reckon there'll be any new additions? Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 perhaps? If you enjoyed this vid, then help us out with a like for the algorithm, subscribe for more MMO content, social media on screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh my god, dude. That was dirty. That last one was actually just uncalled for. He already dunked on us when he started, when he had us in this category, when he talked about it fully. Then he talks about it as one of his highlights. Yeah, my highlights are seeing, the growth of like MapleStory and Foxhole and seeing like RuneScape doing so well. Also, it's great to, it was kind of cool to see Lost Ark just absolutely fail and crash and burn.